Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and the WNBA's failure of leadership. The WNBA says it wants growth. It wants bigger crowds, larger television audiences, stronger sponsorships, and greater respect for women's basketball. Caitlin Clark helped bring all of that through the front door. Sophie Cunningham became the teammate willing to stand beside her when the game turned rough. But the league has repeatedly created the same question: if these players are helping build the future of the WNBA, why does protecting them so often feel like an argument instead of a basic responsibility? This is not a claim that every hard foul is a conspiracy. Basketball is physical. Players compete. Tempers rise, bodies collide, and officials sometimes miss calls. But when dangerous contact becomes a pattern, when the league corrects obvious mistakes only after games end, and when public explanations change from one day to the next, fans stop trusting the process. That is the real story. It is not only about one foul. It is about a league struggling to protect its players, explain its decisions, and respect the audience that is watching closely. Sophie Cunningham's role in this story did not begin with a press conference. It began on the court. In June 2025, the Indiana Fever played a physical game against the Connecticut Sunday. J.C. Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark near the eye. During the confrontation that followed, Marina Mabrey knocked Clark to the floor. Later, Cunningham wrapped up Sheldon on a breakaway and pulled her down. Cunningham received a flagrant 2, was ejected, and was later fined. She was not suspended. Sheldon and Lindsay Allen were also ejected when the confrontation escalated. That was the night Fever fans found their enforcer. Cunningham does not personally accept the bodyguard label, and she says she would defend any teammate who needed her. But labels do not change what the audience saw. Clark had been hit, the game had boiled over, and Cunningham was the teammate willing to absorb punishment while sending the message that Clark would not stand alone. Clark later said that every team would probably love to have a player like Cunningham, someone willing to fight and scrap for the group. The foul itself should not become the model. Players should not have to retaliate because officials lost control of a game. But that is exactly why the moment connected with fans. Cunningham stepped into a space the referees had left empty. By the next morning, her jersey had reportedly sold out on Fanatics. Searches and social media interest exploded. Fans loved the action because it showed loyalty in a league where Clark's protection had too often felt negotiable. The same problem surfaced again in June 2026. During a game against Phoenix, Alyssa Thomas made contact with Caitlin Clark's throat. No foul was called in the moment. Stephanie White, Indiana's head coach, responded forcefully after the game. She called the contact egregious, criticized what she described as cheap shots, and said the lack of a whistle was absolutely unacceptable. After reviewing the play, the WNBA assessed Thomas a flagrant 2 and suspended her for 1 game. That ruling confirmed something important. The original no call was wrong. The league's review process eventually produced a penalty, but Clark had already absorbed the contact and the game had already continued without the proper call. A post-game correction can punish a player, but it cannot restore the possession, calm the confrontation, or protect the athlete in real time. Thomas later reported racist abuse and death threats. White and Clark correctly condemned it. A professional league can discipline a reckless play while defending the player from racist threats. Criticism is accountability. Threats are abuse. Rejecting one does not excuse the other. The controversy involving Sophie Cunningham and Dejonae Carrington made the league's communication problem even more obvious. On August 8, 2026, Indiana played Chicago. Cunningham attacked the basket on a breakaway. Carrington struck her around the head and neck area, knocking her hard to the floor. The officials assessed Carrington a flagrant 2 and ejected her. Cunningham rose and moved toward Carrington before being restrained. After the game, Stephanie White described Carrington as a hard competitor who was not going to allow an easy layup. White said she did not believe Carrington intentionally went for Cunningham's neck. That response immediately angered Fever fans. To them, the coach who had forcefully defended Clark after the Thomas incident appeared to be explaining away dangerous contact against Cunningham. The history made the reaction stronger. White had coached Carrington for 2 seasons in Connecticut. Fans heard a coach praising a former player immediately after that player had been ejected for striking one of White's current players. The question was not whether Carrington had talent or whether White respected her. The question was why those compliments needed to come before a clear statement that Cunningham should not have been hit around the head and neck. White later said she had not seen the play clearly before entering the press conference. After reviewing it, she called the foul egregious and insisted she always had her players' backs. That explanation may be honest, but it also reveals why the first answer failed. If the coach has not seen the play, she should say the film must be reviewed and put her injured player first, not defend the opponent. Cunningham and Clark later backed White. Cunningham said the locker room was good, the coach had not seen the clip, and she personally had no problem with White. That matters, there is no honest basis for inventing a broken locker room. But loyalty does not erase a poor first response. Coaches represent their players when those players are hurt or shaken. The first words carry weight. Carrington made the controversy worse minutes after her ejection by posting the words "white privilege" and tagging the Indiana Fever. She later said the post was not directed personally at Cunningham and was not about the foul call itself. But dropping a racial accusation into the middle of a dangerous play controversy without explaining it did not clarify anything. It shifted attention away from the contact and turned a basketball argument into a racial fight. Cunningham's response was blunt. She said she did not even know Carrington and suggested the post was meant to attract attention. The stronger response from Carrington would have been to explain the play and accept responsibility for the result. The comparison with Caitlin Clark is why this incident continues to bother people. White has sometimes defended Clark loudly. She blasted the missed throat contact by Thomas. She has argued with officials and even received a technical while protesting a technical assessed to Clark, which the league later rescinded. But support cannot be something a coach switches on and off. Cunningham deserved the same immediate clarity after being struck around the head and neck. White's problem is larger than one press conference. Coaching is not only drawing up plays. It is knowing when to ride a hot player, when to protect her with a challenge, when to change a failing lineup, and when to tell the world that your current player comes before your relationship with a former one. On too many nights, White has appeared more committed to a rotation schedule and a preferred system than to the rhythm of the game in front of her. Consider the May 2026 loss to Washington. Clark scored 17 points in the fourth quarter and nearly dragged Indiana back from a huge deficit. The final shot went to Kelsey Mitchell, a proven scorer, so that decision alone was not outrageous. What bothered fans was White's response afterward. Asked about Clark's fourth quarter explosion, she spread the praise across the entire group instead of directly acknowledging the player who had changed the game. Coaches do not have to worship a superstar, but they should not sound afraid to credit one either. 2 days later against Seattle, Clark produced 21 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds in only 24 minutes. White removed her with roughly 8 minutes remaining in a comfortable win. Protecting a player who had endured an injury-filled season is a legitimate explanation. But fans watching Clark find her rhythm saw another early exit, and it reinforced the belief that the rotation clock mattered more than the moment. Not every substitution proves that White is holding Clark back. In the May 30th loss at Portland, Clark was in foul trouble, shot 1 for 7, and scored only 6 points. That was not a hot player being unfairly benched. A serious case against White has to admit that. But the wider rotation and system problems were still visible. Indiana fell behind by 14 after one quarter, allowed 37 points in the third, and Clark herself said the defensive rotations were too slow. The sharper example came against Atlanta in June. White declined to challenge a questionable foul that gave Clark her third before halftime. She later used the challenge on a lower leverage call involving Cunningham and lost it. Then Clark picked up a similar fifth foul early in the fourth quarter, leaving Indiana's biggest offensive weapon on the bench. That is not protecting your star with the tools a head coach controls. That is poor game management. There has also been a clear basketball disagreement beneath the surface. White's preferred system spreads responsibility around. Clark is most dangerous when she controls the attack through transition, high screens, deep shooting, and rapid decisions. Analysts have noted that Indiana's most effective pick-and-roll and handoff actions appear and disappear from game to game. In the Atlanta loss, White also stayed with Michaela Timpson late while Timpson struggled to provide Clark with a useful outlet. When the roster has a one-of-one point guard, the system should unlock her. She should not be forced to shrink herself to fit the system. That is the real criticism of Stephanie White: visible basketball. Questionable rotations. Missed challenges. A system that sometimes fights its best player. A public response that praised Carrington's competitiveness before clearly defending Cunningham. White says she supports her players, and Clark and Cunningham have publicly supported White. But player loyalty does not place a coach above evaluation. The tape and the decisions still count. The WNBA and the Fever both need transparency and consistency. A hand to the throat should not become serious only after it goes viral. Contact to the head and neck should not be minimized because the player responsible has a reputation as a fierce defender. When a major call is changed after review, explain the standard. Fans do not expect perfection. They expect accountability that does not hide behind vague language. Caitlin Clark brought millions of new fans to the WNBA. Clark and Sophie Cunningham have become two of its new faces. The numbers show how much that matters. In Clark's rookie season, the league recorded its most watched regular season in 24 years and its highest attendance in 22 years. The Fever set a WNBA single-season home attendance record. Clark did not create every bit of that growth by herself, but no honest discussion of the league's business can ignore the size of her impact. That impact gives Clark leverage. Her major endorsements mean the WNBA is not her only source of income. Sophie Cunningham has already committed to Project B, a player-owned global basketball circuit scheduled to begin in 2027. Project B says it will stage men's and women's 5-on-5 basketball in major cities around the world. Cunningham has said the money, signing bonus, equity, and security made joining an easy business decision. Clark has publicly said she plans to remain in the WNBA, and there is no confirmed report that she is leaving. But the existence of a well-financed alternative changes the balance of power. If the league ever drives Clark away, it would not merely lose one roster spot. It would risk losing a major share of the viewers, ticket buyers, sponsors, and attention she brought with her. If Cunningham and Clark ever played together outside the WNBA, that new league would immediately own one of the biggest stories in women's basketball. That does not mean the players should threaten the league after every disagreement. It means the WNBA has to understand its position. Players now have alternatives, audiences of their own, and business value that can travel with them. The league cannot demand their loyalty while appearing careless about their safety or dismissive of their concerns. The answer is not to ask everyone to stop talking. The answer is to run the league and the team well enough that the evidence speaks for itself. Protect every player. Punish reckless contact consistently. Give Clark the keys when she is rolling. Stop treating planned rotations like commandments carved in stone. Use the coach's challenge when a bad whistle threatens to bench the engine of the offense. And when a coach gets the first answer wrong, correct it quickly and plainly. Stephanie White eventually corrected her assessment of the foul on Sophie Cunningham. Cunningham and Clark publicly supported their coach. That should end false claims of a broken locker room. It should not end the discussion about why the original response felt so different from the immediate defense Clark has received. The most useful question is not whether White privately cares about Cunningham or Clark. Her players say she does. The useful question is whether that care consistently becomes good decisions, visible support, and an offense built around the most influential player in women's basketball. Every missed challenge, rigid substitution, delayed correction, and defensive press conference either strengthens or weakens that trust. Caitlin Clark should not need Sophie Cunningham to take a flagrant 2 to feel protected. Sophie Cunningham should not need a replay cycle and 3 days of outrage before the danger of a hit is stated clearly. Dejonae Carrington and Alyssa Thomas should be disciplined for reckless plays without being subjected to racism or threats. Those positions do not conflict. They are what a professional league should be able to hold at the same time. The WNBA wanted the spotlight. Caitlin Clark brought it. Sophie Cunningham helped make sure its brightest star did not stand alone. Now the league and the Fever must decide whether they will protect that partnership, build around it, and respect the audience it created, or keep making excuses until those players discover they can take the spotlight somewhere else.